Okay, so hello everyone, this is Padmadarshini here. Welcome if you're practicing now live with me, and welcome if you're practicing this at some later point. So in this practice we're going to be working on the floor, so you want to set your device up so you'll be able to see me here on the floor. And also we're going to be working on the floor, and we're going to have a little bit of a focus on some movements that support and develop strength, and then we'll have some time to rest at the end. So I'm going to invite you to lie down to start with, however you want to, or you could sit if you prefer. And we're going to take the first few minutes just to stop and arrive and get a little reading of how we are. It's always a good way to begin a period of practice, is just to pause, listen, arrive. So just making yourself comfortable. Maybe take a few breaths out, sigh out on the exhale, and a sense of just letting go whatever activity you may have come from. And just sensing the space around you, so perhaps the space in the room that you're in, and also maybe a sense of sounds or smells. It's spring, and you might be able to hear birds. And feel the contact of your body on the ground. As you breathe out, the next few times you breathe out, is there somewhere you can just let your weight release and settle and arrive here a little bit more? And we can just kind of get a sense of what we're arriving into this practice with. Just going to offer in this is a traditional kind of mapping, if you like, from the Buddhist meditation tradition of the 5 kind of states of heart, mind and energy that, when we're in them, take us away from a sense of connection and presence, love, spaciousness, those kind of qualities. So just see if there's a flavour of any of these. So the first one is when we feel restless and anxious. It shows up in the body as jitteriness, tension, hard to be still. It shows up in the mind as often as thinking, repetitive, anxious, compulsive thinking. So that's one of these heart, mind states, restless or anxious. And another one is the opposite, sloth and torpor, when we feel really sort of dull, lethargic. Can't really move, we can't be bothered to do anything. Our energies just feels maybe stuck and stagnant. So that's sloth and torpor. Kind of zoned out state. So the third one is another high energy state, and it's when we feel angry, irritable, aversion, critical, not wanting something, resisting. And this will often show up as hardness, tension, tightness. Another one of these, the fourth one, is kind of the opposite of that. It's when we're craving, we're wanting something. It's like our mind is continually reaching out for something other than what we have or how things are. And this is called desire or craving. Again, it will show up in a kind of high energy state, probably. And then the fifth one is when we feel kind of confused, doubtful, we're not sure what to do. Will I do this? Will I do that? What's the point anyway? And this is doubt and indecision. So these 5 kind of clusters of heart, mind, energy, just to notice. Just to notice if any of those resonate with your experience and see if you can just let them be there in a non-judgmental way. We all go through these states, and the fact that you're here, you're willing to work creatively with whatever is present. And often what these states need is just, first of all, is just to be acknowledged, allowed, listened to. So we've got a sense perhaps of what we're arriving into our movement practice with. I'm going to invite you to find a way to sit up. We're going to start our movement with some sitting practice. So I'm going to sit back so you can see me. And we're just going to start off with our hands and touch. So we've all been washing our hands a lot recently. So now I'd just like to invite you just to really become aware of your hands. You can look at them, you can feel them. Skin on skin. So touch is our primary sense. Touch is said to be the mother of all the senses. And it arises very, very early on in our life, in the womb. Touch and movement arise together. And then from there, we're going to just invite touch. So I'm going to take my glasses off. And I'm going to bring my hands to my face. So there's all kinds of ways we can touch. It can be quite firm. It could be just delicate fingertips. So feel what sort of touch is called for. Could be pressing, rubbing, finding the bone, tracing the bones. I'm tracing the bones of my jaw. And these are 2 incredibly sensitive areas. Our hands, the skin on our hands and the skin on our face, but particularly fill with nerve receptors, nerve endings. Oh. But how is your face? How is it to contact and connect through touch? So invite your hands to roam wherever they want. Your head, your hair. Mess your hair up a bit. Around the back, really quite nice. Something I've been really liking is getting my hand and squeezing the back of my neck. A lot of us, probably a lot of time on laptops and so on at the moment, so this can have an impact on our necks, shoulders, upper backs. Oh. You can come around to your shoulder, give your shoulder a bit of a squeeze. Oh, the sound there. Oh, give it a little bit of sound as well. The other shoulder. And it might be your hands moving, it might be your shoulders moving. The relationship between the 2. Oh. Okay, I'm going to go down into my arms. So all sorts of ways, like I'm squeezing, I might stroke, I might want to tap, so I might want to rub. If your energy feels dull and sluggish, you're in one of those lower energy states, maybe bring something a little bit more energetic and vigorous. If you're feeling a bit high energy, hyper, it could be like squeezing. Finding the bones could feel good. Sort of stable, earthy element in our bodies, in the bones. Oh, I'm going to move over, give that arm a shake. I'm going to move over to my other arm. I'm squeezing down. Gonna rub. Our skin is like a brain on the outside of our body. Our skin comes from a same very early layer of tissue. So when we're in the womb, there's a layer of tissue called our ectoderm, and it becomes our skin and our brain and our nervous system. This is really interesting. So the skin, you could say, is like a brain on the outside of the body. I'm going to come to my chest, and so touch can be very regulating, calming for the nervous system. The right sort of touch. So you can include tapping. Give it some sound. Go and join me at home. I hope you're joining me. Down the sides. Rubbing and stroking. I'm going to come to my belly. I'm going to go up the right, under my ribs, down the left, which is the way our intestines go. Of course, if you want to stand up for this, absolutely do. I'm going to stay sitting down so that you can see me. Okay, before I continue, I'm just going to give a little shake out of all the areas done so far. Now, if we were in a class and there were others there, and you might be with somebody else, so you could do this if you're with another person. I would get somebody to rub and tap your back. So if you're with another person, get them to do this. Do an exchange if you want to. But if you're on your own like me, I'm going to rub kidneys just tucked under the back of the ribs. You could use the backs of your hands. You can use your palms. If you want to come up the top, give yourself a hug. You'd be quite ingenious, don't you, to reach the back of your body. Very good though for the getting up, keeping our range of movement in our shoulders. Really important as we get older. I'm going to come down to my lower back. I'm just going to come up and I'm going to come down into my legs. So a bit like the arms, what do they want? Do they want to be tapped, stroked? Include your buttocks somehow. Rubbed. Include your foot. Maybe give your foot a little squeeze. Lots of joints and bones in our feet. Okay, I'm going to switch over to my second leg. Okay, make sure I get a little bit into the buttock there. And places where it feels for a bit more energy. The thigh can be good. The foot. And then just a sense of your whole body. Any movement, any little shakings. We're arriving a little bit more in our skin. And as I say, our skin is very closely related to our brain and our spinal cord, our central nervous system. It comes from the same embryonic tissue. So we're going to take this and just come into lying down. Yeah? So you can come back onto your back into your semi-supine position. And then just pause for a moment. Maybe already something's shifted in your energy, in your mood, and how you are. So taking a few breaths before we continue. And as I say, we're going to have focus a little bit on some strengthened movements. So we're going to imagine that we've got a clock on our pelvis. Some of you are used to this. We're going to work with the 12 at your pubic bone and 6 at your belly button. The 12 o'clock at your pubic bone or your tailbone, 6 at your navel. And as you breathe in, you're going to imagine somebody's pulling, like the thread on your tail is being pulled down. So as you breathe in, weight increases on the tail, with an arch behind your navel. And as you breathe out, you're going to tilt towards your navel, or the 6 o'clock. So keep going, breathing into your tail, breathing out to your navel. Really letting the navel be tugged to the earth. This movement you'll start to feel will reverberate and oscillate all the way up to your head. So let it. Let your whole spine be involved, be included. So as the pelvis, the spine, all the way to your head, they're all connected. And it's reminding our spine of 2 of the ways it can move. So when we put weight through the tail, the front body, front spine lengthens. And then as we put weight through our navel, the back spine, back body lengthens. Okay, so now what we're going to do is focus a little bit more on engaging the navel. I'm going to focus, as I breathe out, on really sinking my navel towards the earth. I breathe in, weight rolls towards the tail. I breathe out and I'm sinking my navel into the earth. And we're going to add a little hand movement. I'm going to take this blanket from under my head and I'm going to interlock my hands, so right into the webbing of my fingers, and bring the hands right around the back of my head. And I'm going to add in, as I breathe out and sink my navel, from this core support, I'm going to come up and look between my thighs. Smoothly I release down, weight to my tail. Smoothly I exhale, coming up. Elbows can come towards each other. Inhaling, so I'm always coming up as I breathe out, and my navel is pulled towards the center of the earth. And you'll feel all the muscles, some of the muscles in your center being engaged. So I'm letting my head rest into my hands. I don't want to be overworking any of the muscles on the front of my neck or throat. My head is pulled up from the engagement of my center. I'm going to do 4 more times. I'm enjoying breathing out through my mouth as I come up, breathing in through my nose. Elbows coming towards each other as I come up, elbows widening. Okay, let's just rest. Bring your knees into your chest. I'm going to join my big toes, left hand on left knee, right hand on right knee. Big toes stay joined and I'm circling my knees. So a sense of massaging the lower back into the floor. I'm going to change direction. I'm going to keep hold of my right leg, both hands, and send my left leg out straight. I'm really sending my left heel away. I think maybe you can't quite see it, but I'm actively reaching away with my left heel, widening my elbows and putting the top of my shoulders back down on the floor. This is really good for opening up the front of the hip. Let's slide the leg in, join our big toes, circle again. A few times one way, a few times the other way. And I'm going to keep hold of my left leg, slide back a bit so you can see me. And I'm going to send my right leg out. Can't see my right foot. My right heel is on the floor. I'm reaching away with my right heel. I'm going to bring that leg in. I'm going to take my legs and have a little shake out, arms and legs. So you can stay on your back or you can join me and roll onto your side. Shaking out, it's very good for releasing, discharging tension. So particularly if you've been feeling anxious, overwhelmed. But also if you're a bit stuck and stagnant, it kind of works for both high energy imbalances, if you like, and low energy. Okay, I'm going to come back to my semi-supine and I'm going to look at my little notes. I've got a little plan here. Okay, let's add a little bit into that abdominal one. So we're going to repeat that. I'm going to interlock around the backs of my head. So I'm really well supporting my head. I'm going to start arching as I breathe in, sinking my navel as I breathe out. So I'm going to do this, repeat the same one we've done, and then I'm going to add a little bit in. So I breathe in. As I breathe out, I'm coming up, elbows come towards each other. As I breathe in, I'm going to go down and arch my back. So the next time I come up, I'm going to bring my right elbow across, just to look in the direction of my left thigh. It slightly changes the orientation. And then I'm entering my left elbow over across towards my right thigh. Marching as I breathe in, weight to the tail, sink my navel, and I'm lifted from there. There's a little movement, a lateral movement across the body. And this engages another set of muscles, your oblique abdominal muscles, and they are important for stabilizing our spines. I'm coming up as I breathe out. I'm releasing back as I breathe in. I'm going to do 2 more each side. So you'll feel quite a bit of sensation by now, I'm guessing. I certainly do. Okay, just let that go, just let yourself rest. Take a moment there. Sensations, this generating and bringing to your awareness. And we'll just take a moment, take a rest. If you want to bring your knees into your chest, then do that. So the next one we're going to do is also on our back. So you might want to just have a little look first, or you might be able to pick it up just from doing it with me. Just going to put a little bit of blanket underneath my head. So for this one, I'm going to step my feet a little bit wider. So I've got a yoga mat. I'm going to, it doesn't matter if whether or not you've got a yoga mat, but I'm going to bring my feet and knees about the distance of my yoga mat, so wider than the often position we have. I'm going to bring my awareness to my navel, to my belly. My arms are out to the side, and as I breathe out, I'm going to sink my belly to the earth. So actually, you could probably join me with this and pick it up as we go. An image I have is there's a bit of thread attached to my navel. It's going out through the back of my body into the earth, and there's some being under the earth that's pulling it. This is a little assistant, earthling. So as I breathe out, and you can really feel your abdominal muscles engaging, knitting together. So when this little sequence that we're going to do, I'm going to move on the breaths out and pause wherever I am on each breath in. So I take a breath in, engage my navel, and I take my legs over towards the right. Both legs, feet will fall to the side. I breathe in there, and then you strongly engage this thread through my navel to bring my legs back up. I pause there, breathing in. And as I breathe out, I'm going to take my legs to the left. I'll turn onto the edges of the feet. My feet and knees stay the same width apart. I breathe in and engaging the navel. So I'm initiating from the centre of my body to bring my legs back up. Pause, breathing in. So keep going, find your own breath rhythm. So one little piece we can add in, I'm going to, as I breathe out, take my legs to whichever side I'm going to, I turn my head the opposite way. I'm going to bring my legs back up centre. Most important to engage the navel. Secondary importance is to add the head in. Bring my head back centre. Let your belly swell as you breathe in. Engage it as you breathe out. So when I take my legs to the side, I feel an anchor of support in the belly. And when I bring my legs back up, I feel the initiation in the belly. I'm going to do one more time each side. And then just pause. Just for a moment, let your body do whatever it wants. Knees in, shake out, just extend the legs. Just pause there. See how that feels in your body. Sensation around your centre is present. So for our next one, what we're going to do is we're going to change position. You might just want to have a little look first. This will be probably, I haven't done it in the previous sessions I've done. So I'm going to, there's two ways I can set myself up. Depends a little bit on how your shoulder is. But what I like to do is my underneath side, I extend the arm. You can see it's extended. I'm just going to put a little bit of blanket there for my head support. So that is, and what's nice about that is it lengthens this side. Now, if your shoulder is not okay with that, and it may not be, then what you're going to do is have more head support and have your arm like that. Or if you just prefer that, that's absolutely fine. Okay. So from there, I'm going to have the underneath leg at a right angle to the hip, and the top leg is going to be extended out. I'm just going to move, so hopefully you can see my foot. So I'm on my side, my top hip is directly on top of my underneath hip. And this we're engaging our side body. So action I'm going to do is I'm going to, from here, with my hand onto just above the hip, I'm going to let the foot be picked up. Yeah. It's the action is like I'm drawing my shoulder up to, drawing my hip up towards my shoulder. Yeah. And that lifts the foot and the leg. So you can set yourself up if you haven't already and try that. So I'm not initiating by lifting the foot. I could do that, but I'm not. The initiation is happening here, so it can be really helpful to put the hand there and I can feel the muscles. And then I release. My suggestion with the breath is to breathe out as you engage this and the foot lifts, and breathe in as you release. The foot doesn't need to come any higher than hip height. I'm not trying to lift the leg high or anything. I'm going to do 3 more times. Okay. Then I'm going to leave the foot down for now, and I'm going to extend this arm, top arm, along the side of my body. The action I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my shoulder towards my hip. It's going to look like that. And then release. And that will probably pick your head up. I don't want to feel strain in my neck. If you do feel strain in the neck, just keep your head on the blanket. Yeah. I'm sliding my shoulder towards my hip, and that's what is lifting my head. And again, you can feel these muscles inside of your body. And I'm breathing out as I come up, same as the lower body, and I'm breathing in as I release down. See now, as you release down, completely release that action. Breathing out, coming up, breathing in, releasing. We'll do 2 more times. Okay, and then I'm going to pause. So the next bit, one more, we're going to put them together. So now I'm going to draw shoulder towards hip and hip towards shoulder. So it'll look like this. Yeah. Breathing out and breathing in. There is one little last piece we can add here, and that is, when I come out of it, so I breathe out, and as I breathe in, I'm going to bring the heel, the foot down, and take the arm over, because that lengthens that side of the body. Then I'm going to breathe in, breathe out, sorry, and breathe in. So I'm breathing in as I open, arm over my head, breathing out, shoulder and hip towards each other. So hopefully we can all feel the top side of our body. Let's do 3 or 4 more times. Okay, and then I'm just going to pause. We're going to do a little test here and see whether now this side feels more open. So what you're going to do is come and lie on your front. I've worked my right side. I'm going to take my spine and my arms to my left, so to the opposite side. Weights even on the front of my pelvis. I'm breathing into this opened up side. Arms are reaching, head's turned to whichever side you're going to. Let that side now really lengthen and open. Send the breath into the side ribs, side lungs, side body. Then we're going to go to the other side, exactly the same. We're not going to stay as long, but out of interest, is it that does this side, that's now the longer side that you've not worked with, does that feel tighter? If you need to go back to the first side and see, how does that feel? And do a little check. So for me, definitely my left side feels tighter. So we're not going to stay there for so long. Let's come back onto our side. So I'm going to put my head at the other end so you can see me. So we're going to do that sequence lying on our other side. And it's usually when I do this, I can't stop and ask you now, but in a class, usually when I do this, pretty much everybody finds that the side that they've worked, when they then come to lie on their front, feels a lot easier. And that is really because when we really switch on our muscles and engage them, we're also reminding them how to relax. Yeah. So we're by really, this is the muscle switched on, we also remind it how to switch off. Okay, so I've got my underneath leg bent at a right angle. My top leg is out. My arms are supported. So I'm going to put my hand here and I'm going to pick up the leg. I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in as I bring it down. Like you're hiking your hip up. It wants to get closer to your shoulder. Could also give a little bit of a sense, and for me, I just notice it's actually just happening naturally that my belly, the feeling of my abdominal muscles also wanting to engage to support this. Like we're creating a corset of support around our centre that is available to give strength and support when we need it. So I'm going to do 3 more times. Okay, and then I keep the foot down for this next bit. My arm rests on top of my body. My shoulder wants to go visit my hip. I'm reaching, and that's what picks my head up. So if this is causing strain in your neck, keep your head weighted and just draw the shoulder away from its ear instead. So let's not put strain on our necks. Again, I'm coming up as I breathe out, releasing down as I breathe in. So I picked the foot up there. I didn't mean to. I'm going to add the foot in a moment. Okay, let's go ahead and add hip and shoulder towards each other. So head and foot lift, head and foot release. Then final piece is we're going to breathe in, bring the arm over by our ear, and breathe out. You feel the length through that side and then the engagement. A couple more times, 2 or 3 more times. Okay. Oh, and then I'm going to come onto my front again to move the blanket from underneath my head onto my front, onto the tops of my feet. This is the side that I've lengthened. I'm going to take my spine and my arms away. And you reach through your arms. So it can be, sometimes our tendency is to tip to one side to keep the weight even on the front of the pelvis, on the front of the thighs, front of the knees and feet. And send your awareness, your breath into this open side, the ribs, the lungs, waist, the muscle of the diaphragms tucked under our ribs. Few more breaths. And then out of just curiosity, let's go to the other side and just in your own experience, just compare the two sides. Hopefully they now feel more, you can check each side a few times. My hope is that what you notice is that there's less difference between the two sides now. So we've worked with both sides. They may not feel the same, but there's less difference than there was in the previous comparison. Okay, let's just pause there, have a rest. Rest on your front. Feel the shifting sensations as your body breathes in contact with the floor. So we're just going to do a really simple thing here. It's just the very beginnings of what would be a back bend, but we'll just keep it really simple here. I'm going to come onto my forehead, so my forehead is on the floor. I'm going to put my arms out to my sides, palms up or palms down. I like them palms up. And the action I'm going to do is draw your shoulders away from your ears. And then let that go. And then again, draw your shoulders away from your ears and reach your arms back. I've still got my forehead on the floor. I realise you probably have to have a little look to see this. And then I'm going to release. I'm going to turn my head to the side for a moment.
And we're going to go again. Come to our forehead. Draw your shoulders. Imagine now also your shoulder blades sliding down the back. Take your arms wide and reach them back. Really reaching through my arms, my fingers. Okay. Turn your head to the other side. Have a little rest. This next time, if this is all feeling okay, we're going to let our head come up. But we're going to keep the back of our neck long, so our gaze will stay down towards the floor. So if you're not sure, watch the first time. We'll do a few repetitions. So I draw my shoulders down my back, reach my arm, imagining and feeling my shoulder blades down my back, and then I'm going to come up. This is one of my favourite movements from upper back, neck. I've been on the computer too much, and then I'm just going to let it all go. My feet are staying on the ground, my legs are reaching away from my hips. So I'm going to come back to my forehead. Draw my shoulders strongly, clearly away from my ears, reach my arms back. I'm reaching all the way through the tips of my fingers, shoulder blades down my back, and all of that lifts the heart. My gaze is forwards, slightly and downwards, but I'm not looking up. Have another little rest. If this is feeling okay, carry on. If you've done enough, rest back in child's pose or come onto your back, knees to chest. So we'll do a couple more times if it's okay. So you come to your forehead, shoulders, arms, shoulder blades, and that picks you up. Imagine you've got eyes in the top of your head. They want to look straight forward. Your actual eyes are looking down. The eyes in the top of your head are looking straight ahead. Releasing down, head to the opposite side. Let's do one more. So have a little rest first, and we'll do one more. So to your forehead, shoulders, shoulder blades, arms reach, legs reach back, on your feet, so you're not lifting your legs. Okay, and then release completely. And just rest there. From there, I'm going to come up. I'm going to bring my elbows forwards and push back from my elbows to come to all fours. So that last one that we've done is one of my favourites for really releasing my neck, my shoulders. So we're going to come to all fours. Just going to slightly adjust my screen. Okay. Okay, I'm going to come to my kneeling position and make sure your wrists are okay. So if necessary, if your wrists are not happy and you need a bit of support, you can use something like fold up your mat. So you get a little ledge and then you put the heel of your hand on your mat. So if you're on a soft surface and your wrists are a little bit vulnerable, that can be really helpful. And then from there, let's just circle. We're going to bring some movement into our spine. So I'm circling our 4 points of contact. And the other way. Of course, another option, if your wrists are not happy, is to do this on your forearms. That also works. Let's morph this into a figure of 8. You can imagine drawing a figure of 8 with your torso, hips, and your bum, draw the bottom, your shoulders and head, draw the top circle. And then you've got this weaving around at the waist. We've already made some lateral exploration. Change direction. And then let's have a little bit of arching. So drawing the tail down, rounding the pelvis up, pushing the earth away with your hands. Let your head come in. As you come forward, feel your tail lift, your pelvis will tip forwards just a little bit. Your heart comes through the pillars of your arms. And then the tail rolls back and down. So arms stay really firm, not collapsing in our lumbar, not collapsing in our shoulders. So we're just taking the spine through all its ranges of movements. And okay, from there, it's a little strengthening one. Take your toes under, take your bum back towards your heels. And as I come forwards with my shoulders over my wrists, I'm going to just let my knees lift. They just need to be maybe 4-5 inches off the floor, then I'll bring them down, take my bum back. I'm going to come forwards, swing your knees a little bit side to side, down and back. I'm just going to repeat this a few times. Can you feel, as you lift your knees, your abdomen engages? Can you feel that? So bringing your awareness in, just feel the sort of positive weight bearing through the arms as well. I'm going to do 2 more times. Swing of my knees. 1 more time. Okay. Then from there, I'm going to come and change and come onto my back once again. And just after all that weight bearing on my, change the screen again, just going to give a little squeeze. So lie on your back and let one hand take hold of the wrist. Just go like that, and I'm just going to take hold of the wrist on your body. Just give your wrist a little bit of support, squeezing. Got my thumb and first 2 fingers. Giving a little squeeze and try and rest my elbows there as well. I don't need to have them up. And then the other one, giving it a little squeeze. So we're going to come in to do a little bit of a bridge. So this is a really lovely strengthening pose. So I'm going to have my feet under my hip, under my knees, and I'm going to go back to the 12 and the 6, so our navel. So I've got my arms to the side, and I'm going to start to roll my weight towards the tail and roll my weight towards the navel. I'm just repeating something we've had earlier on. So I'm breathing in as I roll towards my tail, breathing out as I roll towards my navel. We're going to start to add in, so as you roll towards your navel, start to push into the floor with your feet. Yeah. And rolling back towards your tail. Start to push into the floor with your feet. And you can feel that starting to give you the energy to lift your pelvis up off the floor. I'm going to just begin to lift my pelvis, just my pelvis, and then put my pelvis back down, roll to my tail. Roll to my navel, press into the floor through heels and balls of my feet and pick up my pelvis. And we're gradually going to start to pick our spine up. Doesn't have to be, imagine you're lifting 1 vertebra off the floor, 1 vertebra more off the floor each time you come up. Arching, roll to my navel, press through my feet. So you're engaging your legs. Beginning to peel your spine away. And then when you're ready, you've come up, peel the spine back down. Imagine putting your spine down, bone by bone by bone. So the tail bone comes very last, always. If you're feeling pain in your lower back doing this, then stop. Maybe go back to not going quite so high to a point where there was no pain. Yeah. There's no benefit to be doing this with pain in your lower back. If your legs are working hard, that's fine. Yeah? We are engaging. So you could, if you have got pain in your lower back, you could try bringing more intention and attention into your legs. So you may be able to start to lift up towards the upper back, towards your shoulders. Sometimes, often what happens with this, I'm going to change angle, is somehow while we're doing it, we end up coming up with an angle where our feet are a very long way out forwards of our knees. So when I'm teaching this in the class, I'm often just suggesting to people, bring your feet back in. The way to stop this spreading is as you come up, send your knees over towards your toes. So if this is all feeling okay and you want to keep going, if you've done enough, you bring your knees into your chest. If you want to keep going with me as I come up, I'm going to roll my arm, take my arms over by my ears. And as I peel down bone by bone, I'm going to let my arms track down with me. Roll towards my tail, towards my navel, press through my feet, and I come up. Nice and smooth and fluid. Roll down, feel my arms with me. And I'm going to do 3 more times. Pressing into the floor firmly with your balls of the feet and the heels. As you come up, try not to push your tailbone up, yeah? Although the buttocks are engaged, I want to be a little bit soft around my tail, slightly releasing it towards the ground so that I don't pinch my lower back. This is going to be my final one. I might stay there at the top a few breaths, or wiggle onto my shoulders, press through my feet, leg muscles, hug the bones, slightly releasing my tail to the earth. And then when I'm ready, final one, coming down. I'm gonna let my knees come into my chest, have a little rock there. I'm going to put a little bit of support under my head. So I'll weight on the centre back of my head. And then I'm going to take my leg out. Oh, you can't see it from there. I will change your position so you can. I'll take my legs up. I know you can't see my feet. I'm cycling movement here. That last one that we've done is engaging the hamstrings. So if you can push up the legs straight. I'm resting on my back body, cycling my legs. Okay, let's change to shaking them. Shake them down. I get my heels in the shot. Can't. Not with the camera at this angle. I'm shaking, including shaking my feet off. So up to you, but I'm gonna, if you want to, you could bring your arms in, just let it all shake. We're moving towards finishing our movement. We're gonna take the spine into a twist, which is one direction we've not gone in. So let's bring one knee into our chest and take the other leg out. So I'll put my head support back in place. Push up so you can see. Opposite hand on knee, taking that and taking this arm out. I'm actually going to go the other way. I'm going to show you this way. So I want to keep this shoulder anchored down to the floor. So if I take this leg too far, this shoulder will lift. So your anchor, your containment is this shoulder down. And you can feel you get this lovely rotation through the spine. Move slightly out of it as I breathe in and slightly into it as I breathe out. I slightly let go of the twist on the inhale and I take myself a bit more into it as I exhale. And then if you stay in the shape and attend really sensitively to the movement and breath, you might find that as you breathe in, the breath in naturally slightly lifts you out of twist. And the breath out ever so subtly leads you back into it. If you don't inhibit the breath from moving your structure. Okay, I'm going to release. Bring the other legs in, the other leg in, and change sides. Opposite hand on knee. So now I want to have my right shoulder anchored. Take my right leg to the left, to turn my head away. And I'm just going to come breathe in, come slightly out of it. Breathe out. And then I'm going to stay, I'm going to let go, moving in and out of it, and feel how the breath, or does the breath, also lift me ever so slightly out of it and ever so slightly into it. So a small movement of your pelvis and therefore your hip, and therefore your spine. And I'm going to come out of it. Anything else your body wants, just see. Is there anything else it wants? So rolling, sighing, shaking. And we're going to set ourselves up to relax now for the last little while. So whatever position your body wants to be in. So blanket over you, something under your head, maybe something under your legs. So as you settle to rest these last few minutes, feeling your weight once again resting on the ground. As you breathe out the weight of your bones. Send the message to all your bones to release their weight. The bones of your thighs and the big bones of your pelvis, your head, your shoulders. Your tiny little bones in your hands and feet. Bones of your spine. All your bones. Maybe just sensing how you are now and just remembering how you began the practice, just in terms of your energy, your heart, mind, state of being. So we're kind of noticing the impact the practice is having on us now, as
as we lie to rest. What's changed? What's the same? And just really giving ourselves space here to be as we are. In these uncertain times, allowing whatever is there. You can let your eyes rest towards the back of your head. Feeling with the eyes, not seeking for any stimulation, but really resting back. Let your face be soft. And maybe let your face be authentic. We don't need to wear a mask or a face or a persona in this moment. And let your heart rest back into your body. It's a lovely, you can get a sense of this, just to let your heart soften back. We often talk, don't we, about kind of opening our hearts, opening our chest, wearing our hearts on our sleeves. We have phrases like this, which are all fine. But what's it like also to let the heart rest back? It's nestled between your lungs. Let your heart rest towards the back body, towards the earth. See if that resonates, or that image, if you can engage with it. Just notice how it is, what impact it has. Let the whole back of your body rest on the earth. And a sense of your whole inner body supported by your back body, supported by the earth. Many sensations or feelings of spaciousness, ease, tenderness. Bring them into your awareness. Give them your attention. Let them come alive by allowing and noticing them. Just very gently extend out so you have a sense as best you can of your whole body. So you're feeling the whole shape and space. You started off with skin. Wraps around our whole body. A sense of whole of you. From the skin right into the core of your bones. Billions of living, pulsing cells, breathing cells, surrounded by fluid. Our body is mostly water. Tiny, infinitesimally small cells filled with fluid, surrounded by fluid. Breathing. Interesting what happens when we take our awareness to this level of our embodiment. You know we're going to bring the practice to an end. Just going to invite you to come back to your skin and maybe bring your hands like we did quite early on. Just let your hands come up to your face. Let your hands on your face. Let your face touch your hands. And let your hands touch your face. And just let them roam and explore wherever they want to go. If that brings them down onto your body, then just follow that. And you can just let that bring you up in your own time. And I wish you well going on with your day.